Kristoffer Kristofferson is an American retired country singer, songwriter, and actor. Among his songwriting credits are Me and Bobby McGee, For the Good Times, Sunday Mornin Comin Down, and Help Me Make It Through the Night, all of which were hits for other artists. In 1985, Kristofferson joined fellow country artists Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash in the country music supergroup The Highwaymen, which was a key creative force in the outlaw country music movement that eschewed the traditional Nashville country music machine in favor of independent songwriting and producing. As an actor, Kristofferson is known for his roles in Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, 1973, Bloom in Love, Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, A Star is Born, 1976, which earned him a Golden Globe Award for Best Actor, Convoy, 1978, Heaven's Gate, Stagecoach, Lone Star, 1996, and the Blade film trilogy. In 2004, Kristofferson was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. Kristoffer Kristofferson was born in Brownsville, Texas, to Mary Ann and Lars Henry Kristofferson, a U.S. Army Air Corps officer, later a U.S. Air Force Major General. Kristofferson's paternal grandfather was an officer in the Swedish Army. While Kristofferson was a child, his father pushed him toward a military career. Kristofferson moved around frequently as a youth because of his father's military service, and they settled in San Mateo, California. He graduated from San Mateo High School in 1954. An aspiring writer, Kristofferson immediately enrolled in Pomona College. His early writing included prize-winning essays, and The Rock and Gone Are the Days were published in the Atlantic Monthly. These early stories reveal the roots of Kristofferson's passions and concerns. The Rock is about a geographical feature resembling the form of a woman, while the latter was about a racial incident. At the age of 17, Kristofferson took a summer job with a dredging contractor on Wake Island in the western Pacific Ocean. He called it the hardest job I ever had. Kristofferson attended Pomona College and experienced his first national exposure in 1958, appearing in Sports Illustrated's Faces in the Crowd on March 31 for his achievements in collegiate rugby union, American football, and track and field. He and his classmates revived the Claremont College's rugby club in 1958, and it remains a Southern California rugby institution. Kristofferson graduated in 1958 with a Bachelor of Arts degree, summa cum laude, in literature. He was elected to Phi Beta Kappa his junior year. In a 2004 interview with Pomona College magazine, Kristofferson mentioned philosophy professor Frederick Sontag as an important influence in his life. In 1973, Kristofferson received an honorary doctorate in fine arts from Pomona College during Alumni Weekend, accompanied by fellow performers Johnny Cash and Rita Coolidge. His award was presented to him by his aforementioned mentor, Professor Sontag. In 1958, Kristofferson was awarded a Rhodes Scholarship to the University of Oxford, studying at Merton College. While at Oxford, he was awarded a Blue for boxing, played rugby for his college, and began writing songs. At Oxford, he became acquainted with fellow Rhodes Scholar, art critic, and poet Michael Fried. With the help of his manager, Larry Parnes, Kristofferson recorded for Top Rank Records under the name Kris Carson. Parnes was working to sell Kristofferson as a Yank at Oxford to the British public. Kristofferson was willing to accept that promotional approach if it helped his singing career, which he hoped would enable him to progress toward his goal of becoming a novelist. This early phase of his music career was unsuccessful. In 1960, Kristofferson graduated with a B.Phil degree in English literature. In 1961, he married his longtime girlfriend, Frances Fran Mavia Beer. Kristofferson, under pressure from his family, joined the U.S. Army and was commissioned as a second lieutenant, attaining the rank of captain. He became a helicopter pilot after receiving flight training at Fort Rucker, Alabama. He also completed Ranger School. During the early 1960s, he was stationed in West Germany as a member of the 8th Infantry Division. During this time, he resumed his music career and formed a band. In 1965, after his tour in Germany ended, Kristofferson was given an assignment to teach English literature at West Point. Instead, he decided to leave the Army and pursue songwriting. His family disowned him because of his career decision. Sources are unclear on whether they reconciled. They saw it as a rejection of everything they stood for, although Kristofferson says he is proud of his time in the military and received the Veteran of the Year award at the 2003 American Veterans Awards ceremony. After leaving the Army in 1965, Kristofferson moved to Nashville. He worked odd jobs while struggling for success in music while burdened with medical expenses resulting from his son's defective esophagus. He and his wife soon divorced. He got a job sweeping floors at Columbia Recording Studios in Nashville. He met June Carter there and asked her to give Johnny Cash a tape of his. She did, but Cash put it on a large pile with others. He also worked as a commercial helicopter pilot for South Louisiana firm Petroleum Helicopters International, PHI, based in Lafayette, Louisiana. Kristofferson recalled of his days as a pilot, "That was about the last 3 years before I started performing, before people started cutting my songs. I would work a week down here, in South Louisiana, for PHI, sitting on an oil platform and flying helicopters. Then I'd go back to Nashville at the end of the week and spend a week up there trying to pitch the songs, then come back down and write songs for another week. I can remember Help Me Make It Through the Night I wrote sitting on top of an oil platform. I wrote Bobby McGee down here, and a lot of them, in South Louisiana." Weeks after giving Carter his tapes, Kristofferson landed a helicopter in Cash's front yard, gaining his full attention. A story about Kristofferson having a beer in one hand and some songs in the other upon arrival was reputed, but has been disproven, with Kristofferson saying, "It was still kind of an invasion of privacy that I wouldn't recommend. To be honest, I don't think he was there." John had a pretty creative memory, but upon hearing Sunday Mornin Comin Down, Cash decided to record it, and in 1970 Kristofferson won Songwriter of the Year for the song at the Country Music Association Awards. In 1966, Dave Dudley released a successful Kristofferson single, Vietnam Blues. In 1967, Kristofferson signed to Epic Records and released a single, Golden Idol/Killing Time, but the song was not successful. Within the next few years, more Kristofferson originals hit the charts, performed by Roy Drusky, Jody and the Kid, Billy Walker and the Tennessee Walkers, From the Bottle to the Bottom, Ray Stevens, Sunday Mornin Comin Down, Jerry Lee Lewis, Once More with Feeling, Fair and Young, Your Time's Comin', and Roger Miller, Me and Bobby McGee, Best of All Possible Worlds, and Darby's Castle. He was successful as a performer following Johnny Cash's introduction of him at the Newport Folk Festival. Kristofferson signed with Monument Records as a recording artist. In addition to running that label, Fred Foster also served as manager of Combine Music, Kristofferson's songwriting label. His debut album for Monument in 1970, Kristofferson, included a few new songs as well as many of his previous hits. Sales were poor, although this debut album would become a success the following year after it was re-released under the title Me and Bobby McGee. Kristofferson's compositions were still in demand. Ray Price, For the Good Times, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Help Me Make It Through the Night, Waylon Jennings, The Taker, Bobby Bear, Come Sundown, Johnny Cash, Sunday Mornin Comin Down, and Sammy Smith, Help Me Make It Through the Night, all recorded successful versions of his songs in the early 1970s. For the Good Times won Song of the Year in 1970 from the Academy of Country Music, while Sunday Mornin Comin Down, Johnny Cash, won the same award from the Academy's rival, the Country Music Association, in the same year. This is the only time an individual received the same award from these two organizations in the same year for different songs. Well, the singer and actor Kris Kristofferson has canceled a European tour and returned to California to be near his daughter Tracy, who was seriously injured last Friday in a motorcycle accident. No more information is announced. Well guys, what are your thoughts? Do tell us. Thanks for watching.